All set to go at the 1500 metre mark. Stand by and they're off and they're racing. And the last of them out of the gates is Uncle Gerard. Now the favourite, she's jumped all right. And pushing through on the inside here as they settle down is Streamline, who's gained a lead but get burned off by Searchin Times. So O'Donnell's pretty keen to try and whip over and cross and lead, and he'll get there comfortably enough. Up there travelling third soon after the break, Blazing Emerald with a length and a half to defending. Macchiato and the Club Silks is fifth at the 1,000 mark, a length and a half behind those. Next of all over on the inside came Shoo Shoo. Over on the outside of those next of all as they work down the riverside of the track then, Princess in Red. A length away, Queen Aria. Uncle Gerard back at the tail of the field. The favourite, Searchin Times, and she's just getting a bit keen here up in front, leading the way from Streamline, defending. Settled beautifully and is following Searchin Times with 600 before the judge. Running fourth, Blazing Emerald in a commanding spot as well. Macchiato's covered extra ground. Over on the inside to Shoo Shoo, a further length, Princess in Red. I Dreamed a Dream, Queen Aria, and still back last, Uncle Gerard. They're about to turn for home and Searchin Times heads for the judge. A length and a half in front, defending, looking to get up near the inside and around the heels of the leader. And they're followed further back by Macchiato. I Dreamed a Dream, getting home strongly right up on the rail. Searchin Times kicks and finds though. Searchin Times, I Dreamed a Dream, defending, keeps coming, but Searchin Times is going to just hold on. Searchin Times makes it 4 straight from I Dreamed a Dream and defending. Queen Aria attacked the line strongly from the back of the field, running on very well late. In behind those then came Streamline, Macchiato, Shoo Shoo, Princess in Red, dropping right out of contention there after getting a great run, Blazing Emerald, to beat one home, and that was the horse back at the tail all of the way, Uncle Gerard. Number 9, Searchin Times, this filly by Awesome Rock, taken to the lead by Sean O'Donnell. And this exciting 3-year-old holds on from I Dreamed a Dream, which was at very big odds. Made a real contest of it. Not quite sure whether or not she was happy being in front, Searchin Times, really. But regardless, she remains undefeated in this campaign after 4 runs. Beating the Steve Wolf, prepared I Dreamed a Dream, and defending third, beautifully handled by Holly Knottle. Made a run at Searchin Times and then just peaked over the final part. Back there in 4th placing was Queen Aria. Hers was a nice effort after being a long way off them. 130.36 for the 1500 and 35.01 the concluding 600 split. Ahead 3/4 the margins. Very well related filly and Awesome Rock, still Searchin 3-year-old for Mrs. H&R Grant, trained by Summer Dixon. She really is an excitement machine, this 3-year-old. Sean O'Donnell back in the saddle, and he shared the spoils in those 4 runs with apprentice rider Holly Knottle this campaign. I Dreamed a Dream second, and Oratorio, Sean McGruddy in the saddle, defending third by Oratorio as well. Holly Knottle for the Pierce stable. Blazing Emerald was there, had a great run throughout, but dropped right out of contention. Obviously all eyes and interest were on Searchin Times, but I Dreamed a Dream did scythe right up along the fence from well back. Nice effort, along with defending, who was given every hope, but the run of Queen Aria was a good one and continues to race well. Race 8, the Valet Buster O'Malley Handicap, and he'll be farewelled at a memorial service here at Ascot in the Bookmakers Ring on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 11 a.m. No changes to the next on the card at 4:12. We'll take you down now, joining Lockie Taylor in the yard there, and she's done this from top to tail. Whether or not it was by design, don't know whether or not she looked all that comfortable up there leading, but she delivered another victory.
Spot on, Darren. Perhaps not as visually as impressive as she has been her last few starts, ridden off the speed, but I think Searchin Times had other ideas. As soon as the gates opened, Riley, you could see that Sean O'Donnell, he just sat there and he looked to be a passenger in the early stages of the race, and he rode the best horse in the race like the best horse, and in the end she was able to get the job done. Yeah, and that's often how you can pay dividends, Lockie, with that sort of a ride and performance. Sean O'Donnell was happy to make that split-second decision early, which is not one that I saw coming. I thought defending looked your likely leader on paper, and that maybe a horse like Blazing Emerald could kick up, and there was maybe a spot for Sean O'Donnell if he did show a bit of intent early to get across and just slot in behind the speed, but there was no speed early in the race. He made that call to take her to the front, and
while I don't think she was completely happy or as effective in that role for the first time, or taking up that role for the first time in her career, she's ticked another box early in her career today, Lockie, and showing that versatility.
That she has. Always a nice way to add another string to the bow. She's been ridden from near on last. She's won from now in front, so she's certainly a versatile filly out in front. Winning trainer Summer Dixon is just catching up with winning owners, the Grant family, and she'll lead her star 3-year-old filly in Searchin Times in before we grab her for a word. But she's 4 from 4 this preparation, out to 1,500 metres. She ticks that box, and I'll be very, very intrigued to see whether they give her another run throughout this preparation, because she is absolutely storming through the grades, and it doesn't look like there's anything around at this type of level that could match Searchin Times. So she makes it 4 from 4 this preparation, Searchin Times. And Summer Dixon, she's still catching up with Sean O'Donnell after the win, and we'll grab her very, very shortly for a word. But she looks like a filly that is going to go through her grades and be destined for bigger races throughout our summer carnival, Riley.
Absolutely, Lockie, and she's doing a terrific job with her team, is Summer Dixon at the moment. She's training plenty of winners, and this is another horse that has only flourished since joining her care. I'll grab Sean O'Donnell for a quick word after he's weighed in, and maybe Lockie might give you a chance to catch up with Summer if she makes her way across. But I'll grab Donga for a quick word in the meantime. I'll just let him weigh in, and we can just change the order very briefly here after the running of race number 7, Searchin Times, getting the job done as many expected her to here today. She was very well supported in betting, 220 into $1.80. I might catch up with Sean O'Donnell for a quick word after the performance of Searchin Times. Donga, congratulations on the win. I'm not sure many of us predicted that from a speed map perspective, that you'd find your way to the front with this filly here today, given how she's done the bulk of her racing in her career to date. But you made that early call, given there was no tempo in the race, and it's paid dividends.
Yes. Getting to the first corner at the 12, I thought I just got to let her roll and lead, because clearly no one wanted to do their speed maps and go forward, so I had to take it up. But the best part about it, she found the fence, because she can be a bit green, and she just relaxed beautiful, and I was able to dictate it, and it paid dividends, like you said.
So you were happy with the way that she did travel in run at the head of the field. It was the first time that she'd taken up that role in her career to date, and it looked as though that she might have just waited for them a little bit, and given she's not used to having those horses in behind her and running.
It's an amazing thing in travelling in the race. They're all right, but when you start to ask them to roll, they get more lost in front. But to her credit, I think when she heard Shooter coming up on the inside, she found a bit again with the winkers on. But look, credit to the team with this horse. She's won 4 straight, and obviously rode her out of her pattern, but that could have been because she was stepping up and no pace. So I just took the bull by the horns and said, let's go, and just rode it myself. And very appreciative for the owners promising me the ride today. Obviously, Holly's ridden her last 2 starts because of the claim, but they were true to their word. I'm grateful.
I know you might not have had the opportunity to watch the race over there in Sydney today, Sean. You might have been in action, but I'm sure, how good is it to see Machine Gun Gracie not only back to her best, but back in the winner's stall as well?
Oh, absolutely. We know she's a gun like her name, and first up was an awesome run. Just one thing wrong, I wasn't on her.
That's it. I'll let you go. Congratulations on the win.
Congratulations to them over East. It's a very proud day for WA. Thank you, everyone. Love to the wife.
There's Sean O'Donnell, and here's Summer Dixon.
Thanks, Riley. Summer joins me now. Summer 4 from 4 this preparation. She's just taking all before her.
Yeah, she has. I didn't really want to keep on watching when we saw her out the front today. But credit to the horse. She's a really great animal. So to see her win by leading, I think there's a lot more under the tank.
Visually, not quite as impressive as her last few victories. You just feel that's the case because of the fact that she found herself in an unfamiliar position out in front this afternoon?
I'm not too upset about the margins that they win by. You make the same amount of prize money at the end of the day, but yeah, we're obviously up in class today. We're up against better horses. They probably went a bit slower. She's up in distance. There wasn't enough pace in the race. So, you know, this horse, she's still very green. She's still very learning. Even if she lost today, I would still be full of merit about her because I know there's a lot more under the tank, and we'll see her back in the field, settling on the outside and running them down, and I can tell you we'll be seeing her a lot more in better races.
Knowing she is still a little bit green, is there a temptation to continue this preparation to ensure that she continues to learn what racing's all about, or is there a point where she could be looking for the paddock now that she's had 4 runs this time in?
We might be greedy and give her one more. Off that run today, a little bit of thinking to do. I actually, some people might disagree, but I actually might drop her back to 14 because I really don't want her sitting at the front again. Unfortunately, that was a circumstance today, and Sean did a great job to keep her under control. But you know, even in her work, she hits the front, she's waiting for her friend, and she stops very quickly looking for her fellow friends behind her. So I think the big thing today is just how good this horse is and how she can still win on the opposite side.
A really nice win here. Well done.
Thank you.
There's Summer Dixon, 4 on a line for Searchin Times. Riley's best of the day salutes, and she takes out the first leg of the quaddie here at Ascot.